Our guest today on Caribbeana is Mr. Pax Lindy. I hope I've gotten the name correct,
Oh,
Pax.
it's Nindi with an N.
Pax Nindi.
That's it.
Pax Nindi, right. Yes. And I'm speaking to him. He's in London, London, England. And, we began to chat and so on. He comes from, he's not a Trinidadian, but he comes from South Africa. Tell us a bit about yourself and how you got involved in Carnival and so on and music.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting about my name as well. Because I'm half Zimbabwean, half Malawian. I came in England in 1985, but I just wanted to say about my name. So Pax is my first name. And
Right.
what happens in Africa, the parents, they want to give an English name
Yeah.
and an African name. So
Yeah.
the English name, they don't know. So they ask in the church, the nun, what should I call my name, my son?
Yeah.
So you see, my family, some of them are not illiterate, but they come up with some amazing names. But that's how what used to happen. Nindi itself, my grandfather comes from a small little island in Malawi called Likoma Island,
Ah.
and they mainly do fishing. So
Yeah.
Nindi means the that cock that you were near fishing, the
Right.
fish that you so that yeah, that's it. But in terms of carnival, I started working for the Arts Council of England. I mean, I was just like a really musician who didn't know much about. To tell you the truth, when I joined the Arts
Right.
Council, I
Right.
didn't know anything at all about business. I didn't know
Right.
what a business plan looks like. I did not when say strategy. I'm like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
So before that, I was a musician. So I play African reggae. I've got like a 12-piece band.
Right.
So I toured that all over the place here.
Yeah.
And then I got this job. So I did that job for 10 years as a
Wow.
funding officer.
Yes.
So department was called Combined Arts.
Ah.
Because if you're applying for music, you go to the music department. If
Right.
you're applying for your music, but you're also doing dance, but you're also doing visuals, that become combined arts.
Combine that.
So
Right.
Carnival falls under that one there.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
my responsibility in the Arts Council was for the at the time was £100,000 that went towards Notting Hill
Oh.
bands, the
Right.
bands, costume
Right.
bands.
Right. Right. Right.
So that's how I actually started knowing more about Carnival. Before that, I didn't know anything about Carnival at all.
Right. Right.
Even when I got the job,
Yes.
my job was to assess applications, and I told my boss, "Look, I used to do visual, VJing, DJing, live music. One side, I'm sitting in an office just sticking. I said, my boss, I'm bored. I'm gonna have to go back to the ghetto." He said,
Yeah.
"No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. There must be something for you there that you can do."
Right.
I
Right.
looked around,
Right.
and I found there was a position paper written by Dr. What was it? Patricia Emoda from Trinidad, an
Ah.
academic,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it was just sitting there.
Yes.
So I took that, dusted it, and then it had recommendation. There should be a conference for Carnival. There should be books for Carnival. There should be internet for Carnival. At the
Right.
time, internet was a new thing.
Right.
So being with my blood very thin,
Yeah.
I took that and I wrote the strategy, National Carnival Strategy for the Arts Council.
Right.
And then I also did a book called On Route, where I got like 20 different people do different parts of Carnival,
Carnival. Right.
from
Right.
store holders to calypsonian to
Right.
stewardess to
Right.
folk
Right.
artists. Then I got this book called On Route. It's quite a big book called On
Right.
Route. Then, as
Right.
part of that book, I ran a 3-day international conference where I now brought people from China, Japan, Trinidad. I had like Dr.
Whoa.
Liverpool. I had the,
Yes.
Brown. What's her name? She wears costume, and I also saw people like that there.
The costume
That's when I
design.
actually started blessing myself into understanding Carnival.
Carnival. Right. Right. Right.
But then the elements of it is like really got that element of the Caribbean. Here in England, you got the Caribbean element, but you also
Right.
got the Latinos as well.
Right. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then
Yes.
you got
Yes.
the Africans as well. And they all
Yes.
do their stuff. So some of the carnivals I'm involved in, like I organized one called Hackney Carnival. I
Yes.
incorporate all those cultures in there. So
Yeah.
you see one, going from Bolivian going on, then you see a, Trini with a big costume, and then after that you see a samba
Small.
and so on.
Right. Right. Right.
So being a musician as well, I write music. So what I started doing myself, having been linked up with calypsonians, I
Right. Right.
started doing my stuff. When I do an acoustic and I sing in Shona, my own language,
Yes.
I call that Shona Lipso instead of
Ah.
Calypso because I'm singing in
Ah.
Shona. and then I go
Shona,
there.
right, Shona, right, right,
So
right,
I got influenced that. Then I started now knowing people like De Alberto,
right,
Alexander the Great, Mighty
right,
Tiger. And then after
right.
that, I started going to Trinidad. Then I started getting friends like Dr. Liverpool Choki.
Yeah, Joe, yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I sort of started getting into it. And then on top of that, I was also researching on steel pan. So I started really looking into steel pan. Calypso in this country, it happens, but it doesn't happen that much. In London, you got the Calypso tent.
Yes,
Um, and then you got the Association of the Calypsonians as well.
right,
And then if you go to Leeds, there is also a small group of Calypsonians.
right. In Leeds,
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
yes,
yeah, Leeds. They got quite a few Calypsonians, but I'm saying they got even got their own little association as well.
yes, 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 yes,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
but it's not much. So that's it's in this country, Calypso is you don't get much really. I
Yes,
myself as somebody who I promote festivals, different
right,
carnivals. I do like carnival in Oxford, I do carnival
yes,
in Accra in Ghana, I do a carnival
yeah.
in Kenya. So when I started doing this, I started bringing in those elements to it. Like when we did a
Oh,
conference in South Africa, I
yes,
brought Chogdas to come and talk to these people about, thing. And then all of
wow.
a sudden people go, oh, well, we always hear about this Calypso, Calypso. Now we know what Calypso is.
Right, right. Man, this is so fascinating. Huh? I think
So,
that, go ahead. No, and I was just saying that it is so fascinating because I I doubt people in Trinidad are conscious of the extent Carnival has gone to in a global fashion.
yeah.
You know,
Mm.
I mean, and because the way you have applied what you have applied, I mean, to South Africa and so on, and it's very well accepted, right?
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I-
Well, now, I mean, you're getting a lot of country. What it is really is from where I come from in Zimbabwe. You come
yes.
in my village,
Yes.
right? And they say, okay, the new chief is being ordained.
Yes.
If you see that chief being ordained, he's sitting there with three or five of his wives in colorful costumes. And
Right,
then
right,
other chiefs from the other tribes would
right,
come now, carried up in very colorful thing, dramas playing at the back. When they get there, food is everywhere. And
right.
if I brought that to Trinidad, they say to me, oh my goodness, Lord, that's a carnival. But
Yeah.
back home, we don't call it carnival.
Yes,
So
yes.
what's happening now is people, because of material wealth and so on, people are beginning now to package what they do traditionally as a
Right,
carnival. Otherwise, we
right,
never called it carnival. It was just a
right,
funeral.
right, right,
It's
right,
a
right, right,
funeral. To see a funeral, you look at it, you go, wait a minute, they're doing a carnival on a funeral because that's how we celebrate in Africa.
right, right. Man, this thing is amazing, you know. And you know, the calypso, the history of the calypso takes us all the way back to Africa because it's the way
Yes,
we used to
grouts, yeah,
communicate. I
yeah,
mean,
with the grouts and all that, yeah.
right, you know. I mean, it's really critical that as a people from the various parts of the globe, we are able to connect with each
Mm.
other. And using the
Yeah,
illustration of Carnival is a major tool that we can use. Would you agree?
yeah. Definitely. I'll tell you something. In my work in the Arts Council, when I was an officer, people would come to me and say, "Look, can you send an artist in my school? They want to do, wire bending. Or can
Yeah.
you spend an artist? They want to do some backpacks. Can you show them how to do backpacks and all that?" I was always sending artists, but then I started finding that the artists were telling me that some of those teachers are a bit snobby. It's like, oh, what does he want in this? Why does he want in this?
Yeah.
So what I did when I put on Root Book, I commissioned Paulette Warner to write and find out all the elements of the national curriculum that you find in Carnival.
Uh-huh.
And I've got that. When you look at it now, all of a sudden, like when the artists have issues, they say, well, oh, look, it's actually part of the curriculum.
Yes, yes.
When you start off researching, you want to do a costume that's got Christopher Columbus on it. You have to
Right.
do research. You have to do geography, and then when you're doing wire bending, that's visual arts. So all of a
Right.
sudden, they started now sort of believing, oh yeah, that is it. And
Yes.
even it's like the way we have a few artists who go in schools like Alexander the Great,
Yes.
teaching the kids because and nowadays with the new technology, I don't know if you've gone that far, but with new technology, you can do anything. I can go on the computer right now and say to the computer, Chat GPT, some called Chat GPT, I don't know if you know that,
Yeah.
artificial intelligence. And I said to him, okay, listen, I just want to do a poem about Jackson. He'd help me a lot in what I do. Full stop. You've got the whole poem, but it's all there.
Right, right, right.
So now when I was speaking with some kids here, sort of saying to me, it's okay to say you can tell the computer this, but it's to sort of say, do a song about, Jackson is like this. You have to give it a bit more for it to be different from anyone else.
Yes, yes, yes,
But they are getting lazy. It was like
yes.
lazy now. This is what worries me. Even when you talk about calypso, it was for me, it's the acoustic guitar playing, somebody
Oh,
actually singing.
right,
What
right,
you've got today, I do two notes on a keyboard. That can become a song, that can become anything. Then I just rabba dabba dabba on it. So
right,
it does worry me as well in that, like, really, we really
right.
need to encourage people, especially this the steel pan, special calypso, these two
Yes,
things. And even things like wire bending, they're all dying. You look at wire bending now,
yes,
they
yes,
designed some material
yes.
which you put that material, you put it in water,
Right.
put it on your face. When you take it off, your face is already there. So why do you need wire bend?
Yes, yes, yes,
So
yes.
there is all these things that's beginning to make people lazy. So it worries me, really. That's why I was very happy to talk to you about calypso, because it does worry me that
Right.
calypso, as I say when I was talking about the kids doing their poems and so on,
Yes,
that can also be the way they do it. Calypso. They
yes,
need to
yes.
know, like, social issues. The computer is not going to tell you that there's been a
Exactly.
crisis in your house.
Right, right,
Calypsonian wants to sing about that.
right, right,
Somebody took your wife. Computer is not going to know that. You have to tell it, and
right,
then you
right.
can now write your calypso.
Right, 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 right. Yeah, you're so right, because it's amazing. I just put your name in the computer, and boom, up pops, the global carnivals, and I mean, it's amazing to
Right.
see what this new technology has done. And I am also concerned about it keeping making people lazy, you know, in
Yeah.
this sense. Now, how do
But
you were going to say something? No, no, I was going to
oh,
ask
no, no,
you.
that's okay. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, with the advantage of what you have learned and what you have gotten, where do you see this your goals advancing, especially in London?
Yeah, that's a good question. You see, the interesting thing about new technology is the country doesn't exist anymore. If I was sending a message today, the country
Yeah,
does not exist anymore because somebody in China is going to pick it up.
right,
Now, I'll
right.
give you an example of what I did during the COVID time. Just before COVID, I was going to do an American tour for 6 months. So
Uh-huh.
I gave up the job I was doing in Ghana. I gave up the job I was doing in Hackney. I gave up the job I was doing in Kenya. I gave up the job I was doing in How, because this
Wow.
tour was paying me very good and it was going to be 6 months. So I didn't want to be greedy. So I said, let me
Yes.
give the job to someone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I cleaned up. 2 weeks later, this thing called COVID came. I'm a freelancer. I've
Yes.
given away all my work. I panicked. What do I do? What do I do?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, the government was borrowing money to businesses who wanted to get themselves rescued. So I went
Yeah.
and I borrowed about £11,000 for global
Uh-huh.
carnivals. And I
Right.
spent 2 weeks in my house learning how to live stream.
Yeah.
And when I
Wow.
came out of that, I used that money to buy all the equipment I need to live
Wow.
stream. All these mics you're seeing at these also like live streaming thing.
Right.
I could
Right.
buy all
Right.
that. Now I know how to do it. But the thing is, I hadn't really thought it through, which I do sometimes.
Yes.
So I've now got this equipment. I've now got this knowledge. Then I started doing comedy.
Ah.
Then later I said, wait a minute, I need to pay, I need some money. then I live streamed for not for Hackney Carnival,
Right.
right?
Right.
For 2 weeks. And I also encouraged them that they are, instead of these people just sitting at home doing nothing because you can't go home, I
Yeah.
encouraged the council to commission all of them, and I helped the system. I helped that process. There
Right.
was a budget. So all these groups in Hackney, they'll apply for some money to do a video about how to wire bend, how
Right.
you play the pan. So they
Yes.
all started making their own little program. Then I was live streaming that from my experience now.
Right. Right.
As
Right.
soon as I did that, Leicester Carnival came to me and said, "Oh, Pax, can you live stream for us? We like what you're doing." And then next thing I know, how we say, can you? Next thing I know, Oxford said, before I knew it, those 2 years I was so busy
Right.
live streaming. And then I set up this channel called Junk and New. Junk
Yes.
and New as in making new things out of junk.
Right.
But because it was called Janka New, all of a
Right.
sudden I started linking up with the Bahamas. There's
Right.
so
Right.
many
Right.
interesting things. I'm actually doing projects with them. So
Right.
what I was doing is I was inviting people from Mexico, anyone who's got something that is
Yeah.
sustainable. That's what I was doing with this program.
Right.
It's all
Right.
about recycling.
Yes.
anything recyclable. Then I was speaking with artists from Mexico who do some amazing moko jombi, and then I was speaking
Yes.
with artists from Japan who do some amazing photography and so on. So
Yes.
this was live during a COVID, and people were interacting. I was having like sometimes 5 or 10,000 people all listening and interacting with me.
Wow.
So that's how I ended up doing with Jankanyu TV. So after COVID, all of a
Yes.
sudden, I'm telling you, I used to have like
Yeah,
1,000 people watching. After
junk.
COVID, I said, let me do it again.
Yes.
I was lucky to get 10 people sitting in the house watching. But, but during COVID, people were forced to sit down.
Right. They
So I
were
was
forced.
interacting with so
Yeah.
many people. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
how I ended up using that new technology in that way. But I'm
Right.
also using it in other ways. Like I got a small, it's not small, but I got a YouTube
Right.
channel, which is
Right.
I do comedy on there, and
Oh,
I used it for that. But what I do, it ends up being a vehicle for selling my music, for selling my work as well.
right.
So
Right.
now doing like Instagram, for example, I will show the carnival that I organize in Ghana. Next thing you
Yes.
know, there is somebody who wants me to help them organize carnival in Zimbabwe. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
how that's how I've been using new technology.
Okay. All
But there's
right.
so much you can do with it. At the moment, I'm going to Brazil in November. I'm going
Wow.
to launch a book on sound systems in Brazil. But
Uh-huh.
what I did is this particular book, I used artificial intelligence, AI, to create all these images because my vision was to go in every state in Brazil. There's about 26 of them. Go in there, in every one of them, I design a sound system that fits that particular environment. So what I did is now I use new technology. I can
Yes.
send you some of those images. So I said, okay,
Sure.
I want to create a sound system in the Amazon. Then it will come up with all the vibes around it. So then,
Yes.
and also I said I want the sound system to be made of just strictly sustainable things like palm
Yes.
trees and sticks. So if you see this sound system, it's made out of that,
Yes.
but
Yes.
just using new technology. So
Yes.
that's a book
Yes.
that I'm going to launch in November.
Okay, fantastic. Well, you have my WhatsApp connection, and I'll send you my
Yeah.
I have a website, and we have a
Hmm.
TV channel, so we can certainly
Yeah.
continue our some work in that stead, you know.
Okay.
So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, yeah. So it means that having gone to Brazil and all these places, it's certainly given you a tremendous advantage in development, not just of yourself, but your community. Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, to tell you the truth, after working at the Arts Council, I was just an artist, as I say. But when I
Yeah.
left the Arts Council after 10 years, I
Yeah.
can do a 360 degrees health check of an organization. I can
Right.
write a business plan. I can actually create formats of funding and so on.
Yes.
That giving me that now, what I've been doing is I've been using that now to help these groups. I've been fundraising for a lot of groups here in England.
Right. Right.
I do
Right.
their fundraising and so on, but just using those things. But when you talk about a community, it's quite interesting because at the moment as it stands, majority of my community is
Uh-huh.
carnival because that's why I do most of my work. I do
Yes.
music. I got so many fans on music. But when it
Yes.
comes to carnival music, I see it very much like it's that's why you call it fans compared. Carnival, it ends up being a community.
Right.
Whereas if you have music, you have fun. So me, I find those two different things.
Right.
So my carnival community here in England, for example, if I give you an example, I do serious campaign for this. Last
Uh-huh.
year, the Arts Council of England, where I used to work, they
Yes.
turned down 15 applications for Notting Hill. I
Ah.
went completely mad. I wrote an email to the Arts Council and I demanded to see the head of the Arts Council.
Yes.
Single handed, I didn't go with anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he said he will meet me, but I ended up meeting the regional director and we
Yeah.
spoke about this. After that, what they did is they gave some money to Notting Hill to give those groups that were not successful.
Right.
So
Right.
this is how much I advocate for the thing. It's just like sometimes the sector, people say, why are you doing these parks? Why can't the sector do it? So most
Yeah.
of the sectors, you know yourself, some of them, they're just bus conductors. They
Right.
specially design their costumes strictly for Notting Hill. After that, they are the park.
Right.
But
Right.
then there is some artists here in England who do it all year round, but it's because they are going into schools doing
Right. Right.
stuff. But when it
Right.
comes actually to costumes and so on, in
Yes.
England, if you don't do it from May to August, you can't do it. The weather goes bad.
Yeah. Yes.
So
Yes.
all the work happens in summer.
Right. 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 Right.
Yeah.
So what's your
That's
future?
why you see me living.
What's the future
Uh,
for you looks like?
well, I've got a lot of things, my brother. And like, for example, one of the other things I decided to do is when I said I didn't want to run the carnival in Hackney, what they said is, can you recommend somebody? They were polite, somebody like you. But what they meant is, can I recommend somebody who's black, who's also got the same knowledge as me?
Right.
It's sad to say, but when I thought about it, I couldn't think of anybody.
Yeah.
So what I ended up doing now, which is I've done last year and this year, I
Yeah.
got in touch with this other organization who've got a bit of funding, and I said,
Uh-huh.
let's run what we are calling a festival and carnival lab. We take
Uh-huh.
10 people. I also researched to work out that only 0.3%
Right.
of the black people are senior producers in carnival
Right.
and festivals. So
Yes.
that's my argument. So I started running this training course. It's 10 weeks and they don't pay anything. We just recruit young black people who are
Right.
really interested in being the
Right.
future of organizing carnivals like me and festival. So we ran that last year. We ran 10 weeks. After that, we send them now on work experience in festivals. And what's been happening is the festivals have been actually really wanting our trainees. Part of it because during after Black Lives Matter, a
Right.
lot of the organizations started huge and they want to tick the box by saying, I also engage black people.
Yes.
So this year we ran another training course also for 10 other people. So these are
Yes.
some of stuff I've been doing. In July next year,
Yes.
I'm also the chief executive of the World Carnival Commission, which is based
Uh-huh.
in Canada. I don't know if you know Henry Anton.
Yes. 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 Yeah. Yeah.
The training. Yeah. Interestingly about Henry Anton, he
Yeah.
lives in Canada. He's the first man to bring Calypso into Canada and America.
Yes. Yes.
It's
I
a
know him.
record.
We
That's
work
how he ended up
together.
in
Yeah,
Canada.
Henry. Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, brilliant. So with him, he's the president of World Carnival Commission and I'm the chief executive. We
Yes.
joined together with another organization called Jankanu Festivals.
Right.
And next year in July, we're going to run a whole 1 week festival together. That's going to be in July.
Fantastic.
So that's
Yeah.
another thing I'm working on.
Okay. All
So
right.
just bits and pieces like that.
Well, this may I have to get hold of Henry myself, you know. Yes.
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
man, my
He's in
friend.
he's Trinidad at the moment.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. All right, my friend. Listen, it's a pleasure talking to you. You know, I want to wish you good luck and keep on keeping on. You know,
Okay.
and
Definitely.
any last words you like to leave us with? An invitation to come
No,
to.
I think my last words is just to say, I think my last words is to say, if you look in England, right, some of the carnivals now are being run by people outside the Caribbean
Right.
community. Yeah. And it's not a takeover, it's because the opportunity is there. And if nobody's taking it, they will take it.
Right.
So my thing is really, if you, because I personally am Zimbabwean, and I've heard a lot of people saying to me, "Oh, what are you doing with our culture?"
Right. Right. Right.
Calypso, steel pan, costume, all those things there are from Africa, whether you like it or not. So we
Exactly.
mustn't put labels. We should all work together and
Yes.
sell this product. As an African, I'm so proud to be selling Carnival. But for my
Yes.
African friend, they go, "What are you doing selling that Caribbean product?" No, it's
Yes.
Africa.
Yes. Yes.
So that's my
That's
message, really. Don't be proud of your culture. Don't
yeah.
start going on about, oh, that's Caribbean, oh, that is a American black, whatever. No,
Yes.
black is black. We are the same people. We need to be
Yeah.
proud of our culture.
Uh, Pax, thank you so much, man. And I wish you good luck. And we will stay in touch.
Thank
All
you.
right. Okay.
Definitely. Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. I've been speaking with Pax Nindi, who is from South Africa and an expert on carnival. We'll be talking again in the future. This is Ron Martin. Caribbeana continues.
Thank you.